Hey, Brian from Garage Mahal. Today we are working on a 2016 Hyundai Sonata and a bunch of stuff we got going on. I think I mentioned the transmission fluid that we're going to be changing underneath, as well as an oil change, but I'm waiting on the filter and oil to come. Anyway, so to get started, we are going to loosen the transmission fill port, which is actually down there. And to get to it, you basically have to open the air filter compartment. And because we're going to get this loose, and there's these little pegs here that you got to get out. There's 1, 2, 3. I left the last one, but it's basically kind of like a almost kind of like a screw peg body panel piece. So you basically unscrew that, and then you can pull up on that. It's helpful if you have one of these body peg remover tools. Get in there, wind that up. But anyway, so we want to get this basically up and out of the way. So we'll put that over here. And then, like I said, we're going to loosen this up so it vents properly, so we can see exactly how much transmission fluid we get out. This will help the air and have it drain out completely. We're not going to remove it completely. We're just going to loosen it, and it's easy enough once you get that out of the way that you can kind of get your hand in there. So what I do is I unscrew it completely. Okay, so now it's basically loose. So we're going to put it back in. And I'm just going to turn it a couple threads so it can let air in, but it's not going to come loose on us. And then next we're going to raise this up. I'll show you what we got underneath. All right, I'm always checking to make sure our stabilizers are good. Okay, so what we have to get to is when you're doing a regular oil change, you are just getting into this compartment underneath here. We have to get to the transmission side, which is underneath here. So there's a bunch of bolts that we're going to have to disconnect so we can get this other panel out. So by the looks of it, it is a... probably all 10 mil. So since we are eventually going to do an oil change, we'll take this panel off too. That one is sitting in there kind of weird. So that one is pushed up into here. Let's get a screwdriver. That frees up our oil panel. That's there. So we got these couple bolts. I'll just put back here out of the way. And it looks like this one kind of ripped through. So we'll put a new washer on that when we get there. Alright, so that is your oil filter. That's going to be your oil drain. Now we got to get to the transmission. So there are a whole bunch of bolts that we got to get loose to get to that. So it's going to be all these little guys. So we'll start back here. body pieces out of the way. So that's the drain that we're looking for. So let's get that. Let me make sure I got the right angles here. I'll put the trans bolts right there. So yeah, I got a good angle. Okay. And then it's basically going to be pulling out all these. Bolts over here. Okay, now we got these couple up here. Okay, well, that rusted and broke. Broke two. These 2 out of 4 inch. Again, we'll put these over on that side, kind of separate a little bit. And I think that is going to be everybody. Now I got to take these out. Down, and that pops out. I'll move this back down this way, and then we can see why this little guy fell out this way. Okay, so that's the drain bolt you're looking for. Now that we finally got it, and that should be a 20, yeah, it's going to be a 24, what you got in here. That is your drain. It's a 24 millimeter. Okay, so you want to measure out how much fluid you're actually taking out of your transmission. So I'm going to be using one of these catch basins. Put a rag in here to help lessen the splash. Then after we drain it out, we are going to measure basically how much fluid we're getting out of this, so we get a general idea of how much we have to put back in. But as you see with a 24 millimeter, that came open pretty easy. And we're just going to bring it a little bit closer and see how my aim is. Hopefully we won't get splashed here. Alright, so it's draining out pretty good. Alright, so we'll let that drip pretty good. Alright, so while it's draining, you want to look at how much metal you have. And I don't know if you can see that too well. Let me go over to my camera view. Yeah, so that's a good angle. So there is a bit of metal on that. Now this fluid has not been changed for basically over 100,000 miles. So that was kind of to be expected, but that seemed like a lot. I'm not really happy with that amount that's coming off there, but that's okay. We'll deal with that. Let's clean these threads off. And we're going to let that drain out as best as we can. And again, usually I try to put my hand behind it, see if we get any more sparkles coming out. So it doesn't look like it's too bad. And we're going to get ready. We're going to put some thread sealant on this, just a little bit, not a lot. I just like to make sure that we are nice and sealed up. Just kind of put on the threads pretty, let's go crazy with just a little bit's all you need. All right, and that gives you a good idea of how much fluid was in there. And like I said, what we'll do is it's probably 4 or 5 quarts. That's probably what it feels like. But we'll pour it into a jug and get a more of a better reading on that. And we're just about done. So we are going to put this back up here. Snug that up. Okay, so that's nice and sealed. Just get one more little torque. Okay, and we're good on that. And I'm covered in transmission fluid. Okay, so we'll slide this over to the side for now. And since these jugs have these little side windows, they're like really super helpful. And we're going to bring this over into the edge. And I like using some of these wood clamps because it's going to hold that jug upright while we're pouring it in, so it's not going to dump over on us. So we're going to put that in there to funnel. open this up. We're going to start pouring into our jug. So that's about 2 quarts so far. That's about 3. So that's about 4 quarts. Let's see if we can't get the rest of this out of here. All right, so as you can tell, we drained 4 quarts out. So that's about how many quarts we are going to put back in. That way we can keep a really good eye on that. So we're actually going to put a little bit more because I don't exactly get all the oil out of this. So we're going to probably put about 4.5, which is about what I suspect we're going to have. All right, so now we're going to get down here and then get this plug out. And we're going to put our funnel down in there. And actually that looks pretty nasty inside there. Okay, make sure your funnel is nice and clean. All right. So as you can tell, this is about 4 quarts, 1 gallon. So let's start pouring that in there. All right, so pour it nice and slow. Okay, and I put the last bit of transmission fluid in, and this was the extra 1/2 quart, and you can tell I was messy all over the place. So that is done, and what we're going to do is we're going to put this cap back on. And again, we're going to get our extension. We're going to tighten it down. It doesn't have to be super tight. Just go down and get it snug. Okay, so we're good there. Nice and snug. All right, like I said, I made a little bit of a mess. I had a sneeze, and that was the result. But anyway, life of a mechanic. All right, we're basically done here. Let's do some quick cleanup. All right. All right. Push that down. Get these all in place, lined up. Put that. Push that down in place. That one. And I think we lost that little plastic peg, but it's okay. That'll hold. Other than that, that's it. Brian from Garage Mahal. Thanks for watching, and be safe out there.